In progress.
Okay. Welcome to the public hearing on Community Development Block Grant Programs FY22 and 23 for School Street Improvements for December 14th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And so everybody's aware, we are recording via WCAT 12, also via Zoom, and live streaming on Facebook also. If anybody else is recording, please let us know so we can notify the public so they're aware of your recording. Can I please have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we are opening up the meeting, and I have to read this whole thing here?
No.
The Town of Warren through the Board of Select, no? Okay. All
I just
right.
didn't know what you wanted to say at the beginning.
All right. So, okay, sir. So what do you have for us tonight?
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me here this evening. My name is Christopher Dunphy. I'm a principal planner at the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission. And just the first note of correction is this is a formal public hearing that is addressing the performance of the FY21 CDBG. And after we talk about that FY21 CDBG, we can get into a more well-rounded discussion about other CDBG initiatives. The new grant that was just awarded to the town, that's what they call the 22/23, and what I've been working on with the Community Development Advisory Committee for a future grant that will be due in March. Okay, so that's
Just one second.
sure.
You having some problems over there?
Yeah, you moved your chair and unplugged the owl.
I am sorry.
It's
That
okay.
was not intentional. Jeez. It's wrapped around my leg.
Do I need to restart?
No.
Sure.
No, it's fine. It's yeah.
No, I accidentally unplugged
All right. We're
the
back.
camera for Zoom.
Okay, so I do know that my colleague and our program manager, Andrew Lowe, is hoping to join us.
He was on and then he left, so I don't know. Does he have a 617 phone number?
Probably.
Andrew, are you on Zoom? I don't know.
All
Sorry.
right, well, if he comes back, he just wanted to say hi, I think, and introduce himself.
Okay.
So when he pops up, let us know.
Yeah.
Okay, just briefly, the CDBG program, Community Development Block Grant, is authorized by Congress each year under the Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. So it's been with us for quite a while, and it's annually, funds are annually appropriated by Congress, puts the appropriation bill together, and then funds go to the federal agency HUD, and for our purposes, the money moves from HUD to the state Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, and they allow competitive applications from small cities and towns such as Warren. So Warren will apply to the state, the Executive Office of Housing and Community, excuse me, they used to be the DHCD, Department of Housing and Community Development. Just last year they changed to an Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. So if I say DHCD by accident, I mean Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. Okay? So these funds are the objective is to develop viable, communities, urban communities, and in this instance, small communities such as Warren, by providing decent housing and suitable living environment, by expanding economic opportunities, principally for low and moderate income persons. So every project that we do in the town through the CDBG program has to principally benefit low to moderate income persons. And those are done either through income surveys or sometimes we could use census data to prove that out, okay? So we're here primarily to discuss the ongoing FY21 CDBG and that funded the school street improvement projects. So I did provide a little bit of a handout for you folks that we could follow along. So right at the onset, we knew that the overall improvements for School Street was going to be costly. So we had to phase the project. Phase one was to address water improvements, installing a new line in the services as well, and a few fire hydrants, as well as replacing an existing wall along School Street that was determined to be in failure. So that was phase one, okay? And we're pretty much substantially complete at this point in time, but the contractor will have to return in the fall to do some minor paving on Main Street, and as well as clean up the area with some fresh loam and seed. So that's where we're at the present moment. We did install over 1,000 feet of water line and the associated services from Main Street to Otis Street, okay? And we also put up a retaining wall along an approximate 200 length of School Street. The previous wall was supporting the sidewalk and part of the road, and previous engineering and planning studies determined it to be in failure. You could actually, I did provide a picture of the previous wall where you could see that, you know, they just used little chinks of stone kind of holding it together. And so that wall needed to be replaced. So the water main is in and the wall is up, and on top of the wall is some protective fencing. So let me see. So the engineering design for all of the proposed School Street improvements occurred with Weston and Sampson engineers through previous CDBG funding. They were retained to assist the town with the construction management of the School Street improvements, phase one. During the CDBG application, as I was saying, the town actually pursued other funding, and they were awarded a one-stop grant, you know, through the state. It's a separate program for a water line and main replacement on Prospect Street, you know. So we thought, geez, if we put those projects together, we'd likely see a good bid, and that happened. You know, by putting the two projects together and bidding it out as one project, we realized a good bid. The low responsible and eligible bidder was determined to be A. Martins and Sons out of Ledlow, Mass, for a combined total of $938,000 for both Prospect Street and School Street. A notice to proceed was issued in May, and the work started in early July, and here we are in December, and the project is substantially complete. That's the phase one, okay? The wall went up first, and then they started with a water main on School Street. Was it School or Prospect? School. They started on School, and then they shifted to Prospect Street. As I said, I think we realized some significant savings by bidding these two things together, and as a result, we were able, through the state approved it, to do Richardson Street as well, which was not intended to be part of the project. But, you know, due to savings with the combined bid and some choices that were made along the way, we were able to get Richardson done as well. So here we are, you know, ready to move on to the next phase, which was funded recently through the FY 22-23 grant. But right now, we're here to talk about the phase one as part of this performance hearing, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay. So with that, we did receive complaints from a resident, Peter Kroshak, and he lives on School Street. And he wanted entered into record his questions and the complaints. And some of them are that they were wrong shut-off valves put in for, or wrong valves put in for the water lines
There was an oversight. The shut-off valves are what we call the curb stops.
Yeah.
When and if the water district ever has to shut off the water to a home. And I can tell you that the ones that were specified were installed by the contractor. They meet all the industry standards, and they work fine. It's just that they're not the same as the other ones in the district. So we're going to be providing a tool for the water district to use. You know,
So it's just a different tool.
It's just a different valve. It does the same exact thing.
It
You
works.
just need a different wrench to turn it on and off.
I have been in discussion with the water district, and we're continuing to discuss where that oversight might have occurred, so it doesn't happen again.
So it's fixed.
There is savings on the project, so we'll be talking to the water district as well. So they committed $24,000 to the town in this project to help get that Richardson line done. But we don't need all that money. As a matter of fact, we're only gonna need maybe 5,000 of the 24,000 that they committed. So if they deem, doing valves differently, well, that funding is available to do that. I don't see why they would, but that is an option that they're gonna be considering, and I'm gonna be talking to them about that.
Okay, and then there's a sewer pipe that was broken in front of his house by the contractor?
I don't know about that. There was a sewer line that was broken near the corner of Richardson and School Street. It was unmarked. They didn't see it. The contractor broke it and he fixed it. It was a service line.
So it's got fixed?
Yeah, immediately.
It fixed, and the contractor reimbursed the homeowner for a call to a plumber. Because they called a plumber first to find out if it was something on their side. And once the contractor was aware that the damage occurred, they instantly located it, dug it up, repaired it, cleaned it, made it work so it was working perfectly. And then when the homeowner was billed from the plumber, they passed that bill on. The contractor ended up reimbursing the homeowner for those fees, so it cost them nothing but the inconvenience of a few hours of not having their toilets flushed properly. So.
Okay.
We are also aware of so first of all, let me say, this is an older neighborhood. We don't always know what's under the ground when that bucket goes in.
It's understandable.
And it wasn't marked, and they hit it, and they immediately addressed it.
Right.
As part of phase 2, which we'll talk about in a little while, we are aware of a sewer line that it's in the way of what we want to do as part of phase 2. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a 200-foot section that's just going to shift, but it isn't broken. We just need to move it in a different location so it doesn't interfere with other things that we want to do as part of phase 2.
Okay, and there's another, one of the contractor's dump trucks backed into a telephone pole and ruined the telephone pole?
I don't know. If that happened, I'm not sure that it did. It's a police matter. It's not mine. I'm unaware of it.
Okay.
If there's damage, National Grid or...
I'm pretty sure that whatever happened, it was fixed and replaced already. National
Said it was
Grid
reported to the police.
Yeah, National
They
Grid
did a
already
report.
took care of it, I know that, so there's no issues.
Okay, so there's no down power lines?
No,
and-
no,
Okay.
no, there never was a down. I think a pole got damaged, and then National Grid just came out, secured it, and then replaced it.
Okay.
It was actually a very old and not in a very good condition pole to begin with, so it was probably a benefit in the long run that it got replaced.
There was also a guide wire that went from a home on the western side of School Street that connected to a tree, a very old, dead, falling tree across the street. And I alerted National Grid to that. Of course, we don't have anything to do with this, but I called them anyways.
Yeah.
And they sent up a crew, and they evidently fixed it somehow, huh?
They cut the wire and knocked the dead tree over.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because they realized that actually the wire and the telephone pole was holding the tree up, not the tree holding the wire up, because it was there for extra support, and obviously it wasn't needed. And so as soon as they cut the wire, the tree fell over.
Oh.
So I think there was some resulting wood chips on the wall from that falling
Yeah.
tree, but
Yeah.
And then the water tests, I know they've been getting done, and they've been coming back with no particulates detected, because I get the reports every week, right? They're like every week. But those have been good. No issues with the water reports. Okay. And if Mr. Mr. Krochek wants them,
Well,
we provided them,
Yeah.
so he's gotten those. And then, yeah, there's something about wooden wedge inserted into wall.
Well, I'll just say, back to the water thing, I don't think the contractor is testing the water, he's taking a sample and sending it to a lab.
A laboratory.
Yeah, in Belchertown.
So he doesn't,
A certified laboratory.
They-
yeah, he doesn't
they
need
pull
to be
samples that
qualified
go-
as a water
Correct.
tester, because he's
Correct.
not testing.
No, but they're
Yeah.
Quabbin Valley.
Quabbin Analytics, right?
Yes, they
Yeah.
do all the testing. So they
And
just
Quabbin
took the
Analytics
samples
is
and-
like the only game in town. There's only two of them that do it, and they're the ones that do everything around here. So, and they're very good at what they do. So, and they've detected no particulates or any issues or anything like that. And then there's some concerns with the wall blocking off somebody's property. The wall had to be done because it's a retaining wall.
The wall is all on we saw the pins and the markers is all on
Town property.
right of way.
Yeah.
It's under the jurisdiction now of the highway
Yeah.
department.
And there was no access to the backside of the wall before when
Right.
it was the old wall. It was a sidewalk, an old steel railing, and a drop off to the woods. So it wasn't like we blocked an access that was already there. There was nothing there to begin with, and that wall is more to provide safety to keep people from going over the wall, which before you kids or anybody could drive or jump off that wall. Now they won't be able to. It's very secure.
So we know there was some concerns about the aesthetic looks and stuff about the wall.
The
but so-
other issues. I'm just going to go through them real quick.
Oh, okay,
because-
sure.
And-
Well, I'm addressing the wall though.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about the wall
Okay.
because there's a lot about the wall. And there's concerns about leaves building up where naturally would have blown into the woods if the wall wasn't there. Well, first of all, leaves are going to go where leaves go. It's the wind, and highway department goes through and cleans the roads, and nobody should be blowing any leaves off their property and into the street, because I believe we have a bylaw on that you shouldn't be blowing leaves of debris into the road, because it does cause a safety hazard for vehicles.
So can I comment that the reason the leaves went into the woods is because there was this little iron pipe?
Right.
And then you dropped off, what, 30 feet? I don't know.
No.
15 maybe.
15
Yeah, the
feet?
high side was probably 15.
Okay, so where the leaves went, some kid on a skateboard could also go.
So, Chief, your professional opinion as a first responder, how far does a person have to take before they get seriously injured or fall?
Oh,
fall?
6 feet.
You can get in, depends on how you hit and everything. I mean, you can
15 foot?
oh no, I mean, like I said, it depends on, so you can fall and hurt your head from standing. I mean, it depends on how you fall and how you hit, but I mean, it's.
So that would,
Oh, we had a step
you'd have to do that for safety to make sure that nobody falls off the side
Yeah.
and protect people, because it is a high
Yeah.
and steep drop there. Yes, change is difficult for some people, and some people don't like change, but sometimes change is for the better, and it's for the better of the community. And, some people aren't always gonna be happy with that, but
This was a huge liability for the town, right?
It
This
is.
on, yeah,
It
I
is.
mean, we would have gotten sued if somebody fell.
So I'm
Yes,
not an
sir.
engineer, but I was informed that this situation really warranted guardrails, right, because of that drop.
Mm.
But there's no room for guardrails, hence the reason for the wall, for both pedestrian and vehicle safety.
Yeah.
And the fence went on top of the wall to prevent people from climbing on top of
climbing
the
on
wall.
the
Yeah.
So it's really was dictated.
because you know somebody jump on the wall and try to walk on it, and
And it's our opinion, that aesthetically, it'll look better once the final walk is installed. It will look, it should blend in better and appear less severe.
I'm just addressing these issues so we
Okay.
can take care of that now and end this. Because this keeps on coming up, and this is part of the hearing. Somebody submitted it, so we're addressing it. And what else? The wall makes it hard for the fire department or anyone else to enter the property, and how it's become impossible for animals to cross through the woods. Well, it's a short wall. You can go around it if you're an animal. And does that wall cause you a problem, Chief? Accessing anything?
Never had a conversation with anybody regarding the wall or any problems with the fire department. This is news to me. I don't know.
And you probably wouldn't access that property from that steep slope anyways, right?
I'd have to look at it, but no one's brought anything to my attention regarding the wall in any way,
Okay.
shape, or form.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
even let's pretend that there's a fire there and you go on both sides. The new wall will also protect the fire department, prevent him from falling down.
Stop the fire from spreading.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah. Makes no sense. No brainer.
And I guess if they had to, if it was that much of an emergency, some of the fence could be cut and they could gain access and we'd repair the fence. If such a situation dictated that action.
I see no problem with that.
And wintertime. Well, where are you gonna put the snow? Because the wall's there now.
Where do we put the snow on every road? Yeah, in the gutter. And if for some reason there's a lot of snow and it builds up and there's not a lot of space, we go through with a loader and trucks and we pick it up, dump it somewhere else. That's what we do on all of those streets.
Just like everywhere,
And-
right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's probably not wise to have tried to push snow over the old railing.
Yeah, I was
We,
thinking the same
Because you
thing.
probably shouldn't be pushing the snow if you did on that railing, because you'd
Yeah.
probably take the railing out.
We actually, we stopped maintaining that sidewalk because it was too much of a hazard to put our equipment on it because there was nothing to keep us from falling off.
Yeah.
For a short period of time, we did try to maintain as far as plowing it or clearing it from snow. But to take the risk and put a guy in a machine on that and go with nothing to stop you but that little railing,
Yeah.
you would have been gone and the machine would have been upside down on top of you. So I didn't even let anybody clear it for the last 5 years. We haven't done anything. Now, once what's currently there, we can keep clean. And when the new sidewalk goes in next year, it'll actually be very easy to maintain.
It's not even fair calling what was there railing.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was homemade. It was.
Yeah. It's not fair.
Yeah, what was the span between sections? It was probably what?
8, 10
15?
feet? No, it's hard to say.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, probably about 10, 12 feet at least.
Yeah. And there's skinny
Post.
little
Yeah.
poles holding the thing up, right?
They were only designed to have people, like if you walked along and wanted to hold the rail.
Just a little support.
That's just a little support for
Yeah.
a person. And it was not designed to stop anything else.
Yeah.
Well, we could say it was out of code because it looks way too
It
low.
was.
Yeah.
There was no. It was not ADA compliant in any way, shape, or form. So,
Okay. And then, is the contractor storing any equipment on anybody's personal private property?
The staging area that was owned by the town.
On Richardson Street, yeah.
which was cleaned up and they removed everything when the project was completed.
So it was not on personal property, it was on the town's property.
Correct.
Yes, there was on the town's property. There was one area where it was in front of a woman's house
Mhm.
but the contractor addressed that and moved some piping from a house.
Yeah, and that's a difficult thing for anyone to judge because most homeowners don't realize you don't own the first 5-10 feet of your property. There's a pretty good chance the town owns it. So they think it's on their property. Most likely it's not. Some cases it's close, but needless to say, the contractor did move the stuff. They did clean it up. There is some more cleanup they're gonna do in the spring, but there's no equipment anywhere left up there.
So it's been addressed.
It's all been addressed.
Okay. And then this one goes to us, and this is his written words, Mr. Peter Krachek. I believe the state should do an audit on how Warren's selectmen have been spending taxpayer money in these projects. If anyone needs more information, feel free to contact me. So didn't we have the state come in here and do an audit of everything that we've been doing?
I mean, we get audited every year by by our own auditors and by the state. You know, it's, I haven't seen anything that's found anything significant of anything to bring anybody's attention to with regards to this project or any other project for that matter.
Okay. And to clarify, this was not taxpayer money that was used.
Well, ultimately.
Well, ultimately it is,
US
but
tax.
it's not residents' taxpayer money. It's not coming out of our property taxes and what we're paying into the taxes. This has come from a grant. And this is part of a grant process, and it wasn't the taxpayers of Warren paying for this because it was a grant. So that statement's not accurate. And we do audits and get checked, and the state monitors this stuff pretty closely on how grants are being done. And this is why we have public hearings. So,
If I may, you know, the CDAC committee, you know, their mission is that they have these meetings, monthly meetings, and they look to gain public participation at these meetings so that the public can come in and make comments as to, you know, how they would like to see a project, you know, be designed or transitioned or so on and so forth. And I know that the Community Redevelopment Committee had hearings and had meetings regarding this project right along, and people are more than welcome to come to those meetings and address their concerns at those meetings.
Where do we meet, the third Wednesday or fourth Wednesday?
It's in the 4th, but.
Wednesday of the month.
Next month, we're having a meeting, I believe it's January 10th.
Yeah, it's an early.
Because we didn't want to have one at Christmas week. So we bumped it to early January to the last week of December.
Mhm.
okay.
So, yeah, it's an open meeting.
So did I miss anything?
Oh, I
Is
did
there
want to
anything you
ask,
need to address?
well, the little wooden wedges, what's the deal with that? And is that,
So, those blocks that they use for that wall, they're supposed to be uniform. They're not. Every one of them is a half an inch difference in thickness and height. That's standard for when you're dealing with construction materials like that. Precast concrete. I mean, the thing is solid as can be. But in order to maintain a consistency within the wall, sometimes you have to shim it because one side of the concrete's a little higher than the other. So generally the weight is still completely on the concrete, but you use a shim block in order to kind of just level it out for the time being. And it settles into place. The entire wall actually will continue to move, but it is extremely solid, very heavy, very well built. The on-site engineer watched them put every single block in place. He made comments to me multiple times that this company did a very good job with prepping for the wall. They dug it out properly, put proper drainage under it, used the proper stone ballast to level and grade it, and then the wall interlocks on itself anyway. So it's basically, as you build it, it becomes one. So it's extremely strong. I'm very confident in its structural stability. And again, the little wooden blocks are just simply shim blocks to make up the gap, so it locks in and settles in better.
So Weir's naturally do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So they're not structural wooden
Not at all.
shims?
No.
Okay. All right. Was there anything else that you guys had about any of this?
no, I think you hit everything, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just so it stays on the record and we can cover everything. How deep is that wall from the sidewalk?
I'm sorry?
How deep is the wall from the sidewalk? How
Beyond
deep
the
is it?
sidewalk.
Far below the sidewalk does the wall go? That varies from one end to the other. It starts on one end, it's probably 4 feet below the sidewalk, to the other end where it's more like 10 to 12 feet below the sidewalk. So it gets bigger as it moves north on the street. So
Any
And-
questions? Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
and because he mentioned it here, so I just want to
Yep.
cover everything. He mentions about the footings Can you describe what kind of footings? I know you just did a little bit of
Yeah,
it.
so what they do is they remove all the subsoil down to something a little more firm. They bring in crushed stone, lay in drainage within the crushed stone, so it carries any water that could get under the wall away from the base of the wall. So water can't lift or drop the wall. It's very strong. And then they're these big wide blocks. They're a lot bigger than the ones you see on the surface. So they have maybe a 30% more width in structural support. So, and essentially the first full layer is all of those support blocks. And then the actual wall blocks that you see are built on top of those support blocks. Every one of them has multiple locking pins. They're large concrete nubs that all interlock together. And essentially the weight of the block above it holds the next block even more firmly in place. So the lower the block in the wall is, the more secure it is. So structurally, it's, like I said, it's very strong, and it was done so the water and weather is not going to move the bottom of the wall and create a structural issue where it'll fall.
Yeah, how big can you describe one of those blocks? How big is it?
The bottom blocks, I believe, were maybe
Half that
4.
table, maybe?
Oh,
This small, oh, the bottom.
The bottom ones are
About
bigger.
that table.
Yeah, I would say bigger than that, or wider.
Probably the size of
than
this
that.
table?
Yeah,
Probably
it's
bigger.
pretty close to the size of that desk.
Yeah, so if I think this is great. I think it has a very good foundation. If you think about it, a cubic foot of concrete is 150 pounds. Right there, you have 1,000 pounds of footing that is not going to let everything move. So what he's saying is that there's a problem with the footings causing an uneven wall about 3 or 4 inches. I went there today, and I didn't see any, 4 inches of going up and down. I did not see it, so I don't know why it's there.
The varying lines in the block is simply because the blocks are not perfectly uniform. So,
And I think that's the intent.
Shift here compared to down there, over 40 feet, you'll see that little rise and that little fall in the line. But that's just because they're not all
And I think that's
perfect.
the intent of looking rustic, looking, natural, instead of a straight concrete or block
Yes.
wall.
Yes.
This looks beautiful to me. Looks very solid, sir.
Okay. Do you have any more questions?
Nope.
Do you have any more questions?
Questions? No.
Okay. About addressing this?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Did you
So
have
there's
anything,
daily
Mr.
notes in the engineer's log and photographs throughout the whole project. So.
Did you have any questions, Mr. Murphy? Okay. And I think that answers everything. And, I understand Peter's concerns, but they've all been addressed. And, we're gonna move on from that. There's no issues at this point. Unless Peter's on, which I believe that's him, and he has any concerns. Peter, do you have anything to add? You're on Zoom, right? Going once, going twice. All right. Good.
Can I add something more?
Yes, sir.
The property where the wall is, that's town property?
Where the
The wall
wall
is
is
on
sitting on
Okay.
town property.
Talking about the leaves, if I was the owner of that property, I don't want the leaves coming at my property. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
The guy that's
Well,
below
that's-
probably is a little happier that all that stuff's not blowing onto his property anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, Joe.
I believe that property at one time was called the Quabog Seminary, which later became Warren High until 1939.
Okay.
No.
History. Thank you. Yes.
I just have some rough thoughts.
I just wanted to go through this and get that out of the way and address those problems, and we've addressed them all, and we have no issues.
So there's always ample room to do things better, and I'm constantly looking for ways to be more efficient and keep the public informed. But I just want to say that this particular project started back in 2012 with a planning study. So this planning study did a comprehensive evaluation of the entire School Street neighborhood. We're talking Quabog, School, Prospect, Richardson, Moore, Lombard, Otis, and Highland. Did I have them all?
Hillside.
Okay. Hillside. I always mess that one up. So there was a extremely, there was a very active public planning process right there with the planning study. So from that point, it evolved into engineering design throughout 2015, and I think in 2017, designs for these years. Now, throughout all these years, you know how many times I come and sit in front of this board quite regularly to inform and try to keep people updated as to the progress of these projects. So planning study, 2012, engineering design, 2015 through 2017. Then we completed Quabog Street in 2019, Lombard and Moore in 2021, and now we've got School, Prospect, and Richardson nearing completion. And then we just got notified that Otis Street was funded through that Massachusetts One Stop. So I'm actually very proud of this work that's gone into the School Street neighborhood. A lot of effort and a lot of time, both planning, designing, and constructing. Okay. So the next thing is, I noticed on social media people were commenting about water quality, and
It's throughout the whole town.
well, let's just focus on.
But again, we have nothing over that because other than these grant things that can address these issues here and there, but the water department is separate from the town.
Right.
We have no control over the water department. They're their own entity.
But
So-
I just want people to understand, okay? So they say, oh yeah, for 15, 20 years, this water quality has been poor, Well, you know what? For 15, 20 years, we've been addressing, the water, helping them.
Yes.
The town, in cooperation with the water district, would grant assistance. We started with Cummins Pond, then Pine Street, Crescent Street, Nelson Street, Bacon Street, Quabog Street, Winthrop Terrace, now Lombard, Moore, School, Prospect, and Richardson, and next on tap is Otis. This has all been this publicly funded grant projects addressing water throughout the whole district. And you know what? And when you get into these public projects, you're kind of
So
disrupting the lines. Yeah, I'm getting.
is that a water pipe?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're disrupting the lines, and it inevitably may cause groundwater to move out through the whole system. So we call this evidence of tuberculation. And every project that we do, we pull out these 100-year-old water lines that used to be 6-inch, but now they're constricted down to like 2 or 3 inches of water flow because it's all tuberculated material inside. But we're addressing it and have been for the last 15, 20 years. And that's just with these grant-funded projects. I know that the Water District is trying to address issues on their own.
Mhm.
They've done their own projects, including the most recently funded and built water treatment plant. So I just wanted people to be aware. It's not like people are sitting on their hands. A lot is being accomplished, both with grant funds and locally. So
No, you're doing a good job, and we really appreciate it. And you're doing an awesome job, Chris. You're doing good. And I would love to see every single pipe like this get removed from the town and be gone, but it's a process. It takes time to dig up a road. It takes time to, dig up these pipes, replace them, put in new pipes. All that costs money, and it's getting done piece by piece. And some people are not happy because personally, I wouldn't be happy if I turned my faucet on and it looked like coffee coming out too. I'd be pretty grossed out by that, especially the amount that people pay for homes and living these days. You don't want to be drinking that water.
I'm pretty
But this
confident.
is addressing it street by street by street. We can't tear up every single street in 1 week and replace every single pipe. We don't have the money to do that and the manpower. So, and you're doing a great job doing it street by street, and it's not costing the residents any more money to do this because it's through the grant process. So that's,
I'm hopeful and confident that now that we've done this major construction on the water lines on School Street, Prospect, and Richardson, the system itself the entire system will settle in, and I think residents will begin to see some improvements moving forward.
Very good. Great job. You have anything else about the School Street project, Chris?
I do,
Yes, yep.
in the future, if we want to close out the 21 performance, and I'd like to talk about a few other CDBG initiatives.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions about the School Street project?
No, sir.
No.
Anybody in the public have any questions about it? Anybody on Zoom have any questions about the School Street project?
No, nobody's on Zoom.
Nobody's on Zoom.
Nope.
Our 617 left us?
Yeah.
No. All right. Going once, going twice? No comments? All right. Thank you very much, Chris, for all the hard work you've been doing and all the crews, and Jeremy, you guys have been doing great over there, and, you know, keep up the good work. It's not always glamorous, but you're getting it done, and we appreciate that. Thank you. And you ready to close up?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to close the FY21 CDBG public hearing.
Second,
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bellis, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously, and the public hearing portion of the School Street project is closed. Okay. All right. And you had some more comments sir, about it?
Yes. First, I'm very, very excited to report, working with Jim, we've secured more funding.
Awesome.
So, as I said in the beginning, when we were talking about School Street, we did not have enough grant funds to do the whole street comprehensively.
Okay.
Now we do. We recently got funded for what we're calling Phase 2 School Street improvements through the FY 22 and 23 CDBG. The state combined a couple of funding years to catch up. And it was a larger grant, so we've got, I think, more than enough to do what we need to do as part of Phase 2. So we intend to hopefully, just so everyone is aware, maybe bid the project out this winter and maybe start construction of Phase 2 in the spring. Phase 2 School Street improvements will address all the road surfaces, the stormwater drainage system, and the sidewalks.
Very good.
So that's part of it. So on top of that, Jim and I teamed up together and we successfully applied to the Massachusetts One-Stopper Growth for Otis Street.
Okay.
And that grant is going to provide funding to do everything on Otis Street. And it's a short street, so it's going to replace Otis Street water line and do the stormwater drainage systems in the streets and the sidewalk. So again, like we did last year, we hope to marry these two funding sources together as part of one bid and do the project together. So School Street, Phase 2, and Otis Street should be bid out this winter, January, February, have us start up in the spring, and hopefully it's all completed by the fall of 2024. That's the goal.
Very good.
That sound about right, Jeremy?
You
And
guys got a lot of work ahead of you.
There's more.
And
Oh, boy.
I'm very excited to report this time around the town did contribute to helping these overall improvements to the School Street neighborhood. So we were only able to get a water line for Prospect Street funded, but the town is going to use their Chapter 90 money and pave Prospect Street and Richardson Street around the same time that we're going to be doing the paving for. So the whole area.
So the whole area is going to be nice and clean and.
By, I would say, largely by the fall of 2024, it may drip over into the spring of 25.
Hopefully not, but if it does,
No.
it does.
So that's what we've got planned in the School Street neighborhood. So furthermore,
a lot of work.
We've been working with the Community Development Advisory Committee, and we're now planning what are we going to do for the FY24 application, which is due in March 25th. So that will be a big component of our January 10th meeting with the Community Development Advisory Committee, is nailing down what exactly we wish to pursue for that 24 application. And presently, we're looking at shifting over to West Warren. For years, until we got locked into the School Street project, we used to switch.
Yeah.
West Warren, Warren, West Warren, Warren. We're finally getting back to going back to West Warren, and it looks like we're trying to maybe get funding to improve River Street with a new water line and some drainage improvements and refinish the road. And maybe, if funding allows, something for Central Street. So that one, we might not have enough money in the grant budget to construct both. So what I'm envisioning is, well, we get them both designed, and then we at least construct River Street, and then maybe the following year we could do Central Street. But these are contingent upon the public, particularly the residents in that area, to complete surveys that we provided. Last night I walked around, I met some of the neighbors down there on River Street and Central Street, and they all seemed very excited. I left them a letter, I left them a survey, and I asked them to please submit those surveys, because we cannot approach the state for CDBG funding unless we have those surveys completed. I gave them a self-addressed envelope to send them back to me. The West Warren Water District said they could also drop them into, I guess they have a drop slot in the laundry there. So the residents haven't been informed they could leave them there as well.
Okay.
So we absolutely need those to apply for those projects in the next grant. Furthermore, we're looking at maybe asking for design funds for Cutter Park. The Warren Community Development Advisory Committee and I have been meeting with the Parks Department. We think improvements to Cutter Park are long overdue. We know that there's some accessibility non-compliance there. We know that some of the equipment is really outdated, and we're looking at maybe doing some really special things there. So if people want to hear about what we're planning for that design, it's just design now at this stage, and now's the time for people to come forward and share their ideas during the design phase, you know?
Yeah.
So that's hopefully going to be a part of the FY24 grant application. Okay? Now,
All right.
what was also funded in the 22-23 grant, along with School Street Phase 2,
Yeah.
is design for the town common. So that has been funded.
I was wondering about that because I'm waiting for that part, because that's the part I really want to see happen.
So right now, we're working at forming a committee. Jim and Jeremy and I are talking about putting a committee together, and a well-rounded committee from different sectors of the town. You know, hopefully a town official, one of yourselves. Jeremy will certainly be on it. The Parks Department, and we're looking at getting some other residents from the area to participate. So that is funded, the design, and this design effort is going to occur throughout all of 24, because it's an important project. We need lots of public outreach and comment and support in deciding what should be done, okay, to the town common in terms of improvements. And there'll be some hard choices, you know, related to parking and you know, maybe some tree removal possibly, but this is where the community needs to weigh in and join us on that effort.
That's an up and coming area, because there's a lot going on in that, that park there now at the town common. You know, the tree lighting and everything, and that gets bigger and bigger each year, and that's amazing. And I'm so proud and so impressed of everything that was happening there. I know Mr. Belize was there for the tree lighting, and I was too, and Mr. Ferrara, you skipped out on us on that one.
Yeah, Saturday.
We got busy on something.
It was amazing. I saw all the
great.
photos. And
Yeah,
it was
photos were
well
good.
attended. It looked like a terrific event. A lot of work went into that.
Yeah, it was really good, and it'd be nice to be able to clean up that space and make it more accessible for everybody, and make it so it's not, I wouldn't say an eyesore, but so when you come into town, you say, wow, you know, this thing's gorgeous. This town doing great.
I really
And
want
Mr. Dumpy is doing it for us.
No, I really want to commend the Community Development Advisory Committee, because, you know, these aren't projects that are just coming out of my mind. This is a group effort envisioning what community development improvements can be. And it's more than just building roads. It's looking at the town comprehensively, public facilities and accessibility and you know, just a myriad of different improvements of planning and design and construction. And this is what community development block grants can do. And, you know, so that's just the community development block grant. Me and our agency, Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, are working on other efforts outside of CDBG as well. We have what they call the Municipal Vulnerabilities Preparedness Program, which hopefully in the future can provide funding, especially I know the Highway Department's got some really important projects he's looking at. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to be coming to the town with one of my colleagues with a drone so we could photograph some of these important areas of the town that need to be looked at, including Cutter Park, the town common, the pond up there with the beaver dam. And so we're going to get some drone footage of that. And yeah, the Community Development Advisory Committee has been wonderful. We discuss all these things at our meetings. MVP, Open Space and Recreation Plan. There was some funding recently, and Jim's been managing that on his own, doing some great work down at Lucy Stone Park. So Warren is really, really taking shape, and big thanks goes to this committee.
Absolutely. Everybody's been doing good, and everybody's pulling together and getting things done for the community, and it's great. You know, it's really impressive to see the amount that has changed, you know, over the past few years. It's just so impressive, and you know, having Jeremy and Highway Department's been so valuable to the town, and you know, everybody working together. It's awesome, and we really appreciate it, everything you guys do. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here tonight.
Did you have anything else, sir? And I
I
know
could
you're
go
working
on all
hard,
night.
and I know you want to go home and get some sleep. So, did you want to have any comments or anything?
Again, I think it's important for people to be aware that this committee meets monthly. Our next meeting is January 10 at 4 p.m. right here in this room.
And everybody, make sure you get your surveys in. If you've been given a survey or you got one, please get those in, because it definitely helps us to be able to get grant money and approach the state. So make sure you get those surveys in, especially West Warren, so we can get those areas fixed up. Okay?
Yeah, I just want to take a second on behalf of the Community Advisory Committee and basically all of the town to thank Chris. I mean, we do a lot, but without him guiding and helping us along the way, we wouldn't have accomplished any of this. So much of the credit actually should go back on him. He's just been a huge, huge help to everyone. And we just appreciate him and hope he sticks around for a little while longer. So.
Yeah, aren't you supposed to be retired?
I am retired.
How's that going for you?
Well, you can't leave unfinished business, you know? The
We-
School Street thing is my swan song. So.
We really appreciate it. We do everything you've done. And even in retirement, you're still here helping out. And we really appreciate it. Great job, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. You good?
I just want to ask, how much grant money have we received since you've been working with the town?
Both agencies?
Yeah,
Gotta be close to 20 million, I would think.
$20 million to Warren to fix up streets, water, sewer, paving,
Senior
Dean
centers,
Park,
parks.
senior center. This ton has
Housing
been done.
rehab projects.
Yeah, housing rehab, some
There's been a
social
lot.
services.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good things out of this program.
Awesome. Definitely have, definitely an asset to the town. You know, we're gonna keep you in here as long as we can. You know, we're not just gonna let you retire and go and hang out on some beach anytime soon. You're too valuable.
Younger people with fresh ideas is a good thing too, though.
Yeah, but sometimes they need some guidance from people that have, veteran workers on that too. So.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Did you have anything, sir?
His question sounded so good, I want to do it again. Good job, Chris.
Thank you.
Mr. Ferrari?
I want to thank Chris. It's been a great working together with you on these projects and giving me some guidance and some direction on different things. I really appreciate that, so thank you.
Anybody from the public have anything? About the projects coming up? Right, and there are public meetings being held, and, please show up at those public meetings if you want to know what's going on at Cutter Park, or at the Town Common Park, or any of the areas that, Mr. Dumpy's addressed. Please go to the meetings, let them know, or they can just drop an email, right? And we can address those. But thank you very much, sir. And we'll let you go home and get some sleep now.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Have a good night, Chris.
All right, do you want to just keep this going, or you want to?
No, we gotta close that one.
stop
end that
the
meeting.
recording? Okay,
Oh, yeah, and that, and then we're gonna open it up again.
okay. So I will stop recording. Do we need to close, or we already closed,
Yeah,
right?
we'll do a motion
I
to
get up at 4
adjourn.
o'clock in the morning.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Rich Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. We are adjourned from the public hearing on community development block grants and programs.
Recording stopped.